Okay, so I am talking about how to look good over 40. And I myself, I'm 47 years old at the filming of this video. I will be 48 in 3 or 4 months. And so I'm very well versed in being 40 and in my 40s. So these are the top 5 things that I practice daily, weekly, in order to feel good and in order to maintain my youthful energy. But let me just first start with the caveat that I am not against medical interventions. So these are not going to be any medical interventions like Botox or any sort of physical changes that you might make. They're more energetic in nature, but also physical on a health level. So the number one thing that I do to look and feel good is create joy moments in my life. Joy every day is very, very necessary for me, but also for you. And you may not think so, but joy doesn't need to be earned. Joy and pleasure go hand in hand, and you get to have joy and pleasure without having to earn it. You've probably thought your whole life that you first have to work and then you get to play, right? That's sort of the masculine or patriarchal system way of making you feel like you're not good enough. But you get to have joy without earning it. And so my goal in life right now is, and has been for a long time, is to create joy first. And that actually being in joy creates a lot more productivity in, say, my work life, and it creates a better relationship with my partner and my other people in my life. So joy is a critical part of life, and we really forget about it, and it makes us bitter, and it makes us resentful when we don't have enough joy, and it makes us hardened and angry when we just don't have enough joy and we have way too much stress and pressure. So joy is number one on my list, although they're all very equally important. Number 2 is quite boring. It's nutrition and protein. And eating enough protein. For many vegetarians, it's always on their mind already, but for many of us who eat sort of average, we often don't get enough protein in our diet. And so protein is a really, really important factor as we get older into our 40s and into our 50s and beyond, because of the support that protein can give us as we are less able to draw from our sort of resources that we've probably depleted for many, many years prior. So protein is extremely important. For me, it helps me sleep better at night when I eat enough protein. It keeps me lean. It helps me be strong in the gym, and for all of life's amazing events. So proper nutrition to whatever level that you believe in. I'm not going to preach nutrition here, but definitely protein as a building block for your hormonal and your just overall health. Then number 3 is sleep. So sleep is very, very connected to your hormonal health. In fact, if you are a woman, you will need a lot more hours of sleep per night. I think there's something like 3 more hours of sleep per night for a woman compared to a man of the same age is ideal. And this is because we have so many different hormonal systems that need to regulate themselves, and it takes time, right? One relies on the other. And if you have enough time of rest, the body can equalize and come back into balance. And when we are chronically stressed and underslept and overworked, those hormones go out of balance. And this is where we get chronic fatigue, we get thyroid issues, we use caffeine to stay awake and to stay alert, as I did for many years. I now drink matcha, which still has caffeine, but it's a lot smoother and better on my system, and it doesn't affect my sleep. It doesn't make me jittery. Highly recommend weaning off if you can, but a lot of people just love their coffee, and that's okay too. Sleep also affects our weight, right? When we are underslept and overworked and our hormones are out of whack, we reach for sugar, we reach for comfort foods. We often eat past dinner, all the things that we know we shouldn't do, but are really hard to do when you're extremely tired. If you have young kids or if you have obligations, sugar is a good pick me up. I'm definitely guilty of that. I don't not eat sugar. Believe me, I eat sugar, but I do prioritize sleep a lot, and it's very, very important. It's important for your sex hormones and your libido. And some of you might be laughing because you don't have a sex life with someone else. But this brings me to number 4, which is good sex. And good sex is something that will definitely help you look young into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, because it just is so invigorating and it's so necessary. It's like breathing. It's like sleep. It's like eating. Sex is very necessary for overall health. Orgasms are necessary for overall health. And many women, especially, but there are so many men who struggle with their sexuality too, and shame. And, the porn industry has just destroyed men and women, but a lot of men. And so for women, we often avoid sex when we have pain in that area. I don't mean physical pain, trauma, birth trauma, sexual trauma, and actually all of our trauma in some form or another gets stored there, because here's the thing. Most of our trauma as women is based on something shame-based around our sexuality or around our gender. So even if you were, a young girl dancing in a princess dress and your mother said, little girls don't just dance in princess dresses. You should go to school and get smart. And that might have affected you in a shameful way. Like you might have shamed yourself for being a girl and having these desires of dancing around like a princess, and your mom or dad or parents of some sort really squandered it and made you feel shitty for having this desire to just have joy and wear a pretty dress and be feminine, right? And so it doesn't have to be sexual abuse or an assault or any of that, although oftentimes, unfortunately, many of us have experienced that. And we are carrying that with us, and that gets to be alchemized. You can do this with self-pleasuring, with self-massage. You can do this with using tools such as crystal wands to do vaginal mapping and de-armoring of the vagina and the womb area and all the vulva and the yoni. You can use yoni eggs. So usually it's a jade egg about this big, small, that you insert into the vagina, and you can do specific exercises with it to strengthen the vaginal floor, to heal. You can put intention into your yoni egg and ask for specific healing. You can ask for specific answers from your womb, who has a heart of its own. So the cervix is the womb heart. And so it's very connected to our hearts. And so men don't have a cervix, as we know. Well, if you didn't know, they don't. The cervix is the opening that the baby comes through from the womb. And it is our heart center. It's our second heart. And many of us are not connected to that heart center. And we hold a lot of grief there. So whether it be, like I said, sexual trauma, other trauma, birth trauma, we hold a lot of grief there. And so you get to find ways of alchemizing that and healing that so that you can have a great sex life. You can learn how to have a great sex life, perhaps first on your own, and then that really allows you to draw in the right man who can then match you and meet you, and you can go even deeper. If you like this video so far, hit the subscribe button, because I release 2 videos every week. Also, comment below if any of these resonate with you so far. I'd love to hear. But I have one more. And this, just like joy, is probably the top thing on my list that will help you feel and look more beautiful into your 40s and beyond, and that is femininity. So I have met, 70, 80, 90-year-olds who are extremely beautifully feminine, and they are just so gorgeous. And it may not be the beauty standard of an 18-year-old or 16-year-old model in a magazine, but they are actually even more beautiful because they have that radiance, that shining light, that joy, and the gratitude for life. And all of this is so amazing in these women that they become so much more beautiful than just their physical beauty alone, but it affects their physical beauty as well. So femininity is the number one thing, along with joy and pleasure. They're interchangeable, that I really, really recommend you lean into in order to feel and look good. Feel and look good at any stage of your life, no matter what weight you are, no matter how many wrinkles you have, no matter what, it just will emanate an inner beauty that is unmatched with lip fillers and facelifts and all of those things that we believe will make us feel more beautiful. But ultimately, they just change who we are on the outside, but not who we are on the inside. My name is Barbara Santon, and I help successful single women attract and keep the relationship of their dreams. So let me know in the comments below if this resonated with you, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. I'd love to hear, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.